Hello everybody, I'm Shadow's Reign, and in today's video we are going to be comparing the three kings of Verdansk, which are going to be tearing apart the mid-range AR area. Now, we have the Amax, which has been the king for a good few seasons. Then we've also got the C58, which is trying to show itself on the market and call itself king of that area of the meta. And then of course we've got an old guard. We've got the old boy, the FN Scar 17. Now, this gun has had a big buff in recent weeks, and it's actually really competitive, a lot more competitive than what you might expect. So in this video we're going to break it all down. We're going to have a stats comparison, we're going to have a user case scenario of when you want to be using what weapon. But till then guys, let's crack right into it. Yes, so these three guns are going to be the next big things in the meta. The reason that they are is because they all have high damage, they got decent range, and to be honest, they kill pretty damn quick, no matter what range you use them at. So these are pretty much where the meta is heading at the moment. We see a lot of Amax users, but a lot of Amax users are kind of being left in the lurch at the minute because there's other guns that can do the exact same thing. So let's start with the C58. We're going to start on damage. So with these weapons, we have a 44 base damage on the C58. This got my attention since it's now being ground loot, and I like picking it up now, so it's really, really fun. And then we have got 38 on the Amax, and then we've got 42 on the Scar. So the C58 actually takes the cake in terms of outright damage numbers. Of course, there's more to it than that. We have got headshot damage, 59 on the C58, 52 on the Amax, and 56 on the Scar. Now, these damage numbers mean absolute FA if the rate of fire isn't there. You wouldn't want that damage on a sniper rifle bolt action, would you? So the rate of fire for the C58 is going to come in at 553 rounds per minute, which I think is actually not a bad number. Of course, it's on the slower side, but for an AR, a slower fire and more accurate rifle, it's kind of what to expect. The Amax is going to come in at the highest in this bunch at 630 rounds per minute, which again is absolute filth. Really high rate of fire on this one, but as a result it does make the gun a bit more bouncy and a little bit harder to control. Next we have the Scar. The Scar's rate of fire is 573 rounds per minute, which is, it's middle of the ground there, but it is noticeably faster than the C58 in my opinion. I know that sounds daft considering like there's like what 20 rate of fire difference, but I don't know, I feel as if you can feel that using the Scar. Doesn't mean the C58 is bad, not by any stretch of the imagination. And the C58 does have some strengths. And one of those strengths is the fact it's got the biggest mag size with attachments there. So base mag size is 25 on the C58, which goes up to 55, which is a massive, massive jump for weapons like this. When you compare that to the Amax's 30, which builds into 45, and then the tragic Scar, which is 20 building into 30. It goes to show you that this weapon offers something a little bit different than the Amax and the Scar in terms of rounds per minute. We'll get into the user cases for each of these weapons later on, because each of these weapons still do have a place in the meta. It's just not where you guys might think. Now we are going to move on to the max range. So max range is obviously a monolithic suppressor or equivalent, and like the longest range giving barrel or equivalent in terms of the barrels for the Cold War and Black Ops, same thing, Cold War and Modern Warfare. So the longest range you can have on a C58 is going to be 37 meters, which I think is actually, it's okay. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. Next, on the Amax, it's just very slightly less. It's around the same, 36, with the max attachments on there, which is really good. But here's where we have a really strong contender in the Scar. The Scar has a max range of 50 meters. Now that is, of course, with the longest barrel on there to make it a fair test. However, I don't run it this way. I run it with the 17.5 pound barrel. And the reason I do that is because it is 5% less velocity in range with a 30 millisecond improvement to ADS speed. And I think that is more than worth it, in my opinion. Now, speaking of the max bullet velocity, let's have a little talk about that on the C58. It comes in at a whopping 1,192 meters per second, which is an absolutely ludicrous number, really. That's literally up there with sniper rifles. What the hell? The Amax comes in at 958 meters per second. Again, respectable. This is a high number, so, you know, it might not be as high as the C58, but it's still a high number. It's also not as high as the Scar, which takes the cake here, and that comes in at 1,258 meters per second, which is actually faster than some sniper rifles. So, really, really, really strong gun in terms of getting those bullets out there as quickly as possible, which kind of makes it good at range, just minus that, you know, that 30 round mag. So, although I do say run the 17.5-inch barrel, if you want to be picking people off at range, yeah, slap the 20-pound barrel on there and stop beaming people with 1,258 meters per second bullet velocity. It's disgusting. Now, these weapons do have lower bullet velocity. There's no secret about that, and, you know, not bullet velocity, like ammo capacity. And there's no secret, and the problem with that is, you know, it compensates for the absolute mad damage output that you can have. So, in terms of reload speeds, this is really important. Now, I don't usually cover reload speeds in these guides. However, you're going to spend a lot of time reloading with these guns. Now, on the C58, it has the fastest reload speed out of the bunch of them, with 2 seconds flat reload speed. The Amax comes in at a respectable 2.25 seconds reload speed, which is, yeah, it's starting to venture on the high side for ARs. And then the slowest reloading one of them all is the Scar at 2.3 seconds. Now, it is worth to note on the Amax and the Scar is that you can have around about a 0.7 reduction, 0.7 seconds reduction in terms of its reload speed if you do use the sleight of hand perk. So that would make the Scar around 1.5, would make the Amax around 1.45 in that kind of territory. So that is just something to bear in mind. However, we're going to get into the user case scenarios now for each of these weapons. That's not really a possibility on the Scar, because to get the most out of the Scar, you need every single attachment slot you can afford to put on it, really. You know, for that range, for that speed of use, you know, so you do need those attachments on that gun. Now, I actually don't mind the iron sight in the Scar, but I am just used to using optics now, so it's kind of how it is. But anyways, user cases. The C58. The C58 is going to be the quads gun, if I'm being honest. The quads gun, it's going to absolutely decimate people. You're going to have that mag allowance that you don't have on the Amax. You can use this in trios as well. Really good shout in trios too. It's got really high damage. It's in the middle of the pack for damage per second, and its time to kill. It's right in the middle of the two. We'll get to that in a second when comparing it, because I've got a nice little graph for that. But it's between the two in terms of time to kill, with the Scar being the fastest time to kill, believe it or not, which means the Scar is probably your best bet for solos and duos. So the Scar is the highest damage. It will kill people the quickest out of the 3 guns mentioned here today. At all ranges. It doesn't really matter where you hit them as well. The Scar is absolute filth. So, Scar for solos and duos, the C58 for trios and quads. Now, the Amax, to get the most out of it, you don't need all 5 attachments. So, the Amax serves as a very good one-stop gun. So, if you are using a recovery class, you can put fully loaded on that gun, and then you're going to go into your loadout drop from the gulag and have max ammo. Can't stress the importance of recovery classes, guys. I've won a few games using a recovery class. Really worth setting one up. And it's also good for your perks as well. If you say, for example, you do have your usual overkill and you want to start perking up, put the fully loaded on there, because that's going to give you max ammo. And if you've got a team of that shine ammo, drop whatever ammo you've got, pick up your goer's perk, and boom, you've got full ammo again because you're using fully loaded. So yeah, absolutely worth doing. So the Amax for recovery classes, the C58 for trios and quads, and the FN Scar 17 for solos and duos. I think that is the perfect little roundup. Now I'm going to show you the time to kill graph. The Amax comes in Last, we have got the C58, which is right in the middle of the two, and then we've got the FN Scar, which is, of course, the fastest time to kill of these bunch. Now, of course, yes, I am using the True Data website because, one, it does amazing work. You should totally go support them. And also, you can see I threw in a SOCOM in there. Of course I threw a SOCOM in there. So the SOCOM is still the fastest time to kill out of the assault rifles. It's got the highest range out of the assault rifles. It's got the highest bullet velocity out of the assault rifles. And it's got the highest rate of fire of, well, not of the assault rifles, but it's got the highest rate of fire of these assault rifles is what I meant to say. So if you are in solos and duos, might be worth running a SOCOM, but I say that every season. You guys seem to prefer the security of having the extra bullets. So yeah, Scar's probably still your shout there, but you know, just comparing how it does. But guys, that is going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button below and consider subscribing. That would be absolutely amazing. Over 400 now, guys, and that's absolutely class. Thank you so much for the support. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. We've got a few things planned. You know, just get some good videos out there and let's get them shared. Let's get them out there. And until then, I've been Shadows Rain. You've been awesome. And let me know what you're using in the comment section below. Peace.